Now let's move to our very first session of the day. For this, I request my co-host, Mrs. Shefali Varshne, Assistant Professor of CSC AI/ML, to continue the first session. Now let's move to our first session of the day. We cordially invite today's first speaker, Professor Dr. Anirban Das. Professor Dr. Anirban Das is associate banks of Subrnrekha River, districts like Bankura, Medini East and West, etc. Dr. Das was highly recognized by late Mr. Vipin Rawat, CDS, India, for his remarkable work on national defense technologies in 2021. His another project, Data Guard, secured second position in India International Science Festival 2021 at Goa. Dr. Das is national expert and mentor of ISRO Space Hackathon 2023 by ISRO. Now, I would like to request Professor Dr. Anirban Das to share his knowledge with all our participants.
Good afternoon. It's my privilege to be here with you in this wonderful FGP, organized by Department of CSC AI/ML under the leadership of Dr. Suvir Gupta. So I would like to thank the department, departmental colleagues, HOD, principals, and all the faculty members present here. Today, what I have thought of to go for a general talk regarding that perception and progress of AI in R&D enabler, because I think there's a department dedicatedly working on AI and ML. So I thought that the work what I have done, some of the works what I have done that we'll discuss, along with some perspectives on which the implementation of AI is very, very pertinent today. So those very portions I'll be covering up. So the way I have planned to
yes, sir.
So this is the journey what I have set for today. From introduction, then industry 4.0, striving towards 5.0, then the basic intelligence and basic human intelligence and AI, some statistics, the Turing test, the progress of AI, then the real life application on which I have worked, and then the discussion. This is the way I have thought of to go for. And as the introduction is required to be given, though I understand that an introduction of AI/ML to a department which is serving for AI/ML is not supportive enough. But still, there is a saying that artificial intelligence, deep learning, and machine learning, whatever you are doing, if you don't understand that, if you don't learn that, within 3 years or so, you'll be in the dinosaur age. That is a very common saying on AI, ML, and deep learning, right? And if you are heading forward to the industrial development 4.0, you'll be finding one thing that once upon a time the day was when we didn't have the machines to work. Rather, we used to go to our earlier generations. I'm talking about that industrial revolutions 1.0 is like when we didn't have any machine to work. Human labor was the only option at that very time, and day and night people used to work in the industry, right? So no machine was there. That is industrial revolution 1.0. And when the steam engine has started, and then that very time we can say the different machines have come up ultimately. So that is 2.0, and when automation has come up, like a very narrower AI we used to use in 90s or 80s at the time. So that very time that was highly related to some search and all, heuristic searches and all. That was mainly with very fewer algorithms. So that very time it was industry revolution 3.0. And nowadays we are running in Industry Revolution 4.0, where you being an intelligent person, as you know that human intelligence is there for every human. So if you want to, give that particular intelligence to any machine, so that the machine can work in your as per your desire. So that is basically the need of AI. And nowadays in 4.0, what is happening? Not only a machine, rather, when a machine is getting trained by some human, and then that machine is instructing machine B. So first machine is intelligent enough right now as per your choice, as per your desire, and then the first machine is telling the second machine to work as per its intelligence and desire. So that is basically the time we can say that we are running through Industry 4.0, where AI is not like the previous one, rather it has developed like anything so that, the entire market, entire world is accepting AI in all the business processes and other relevant areas. So in the diversified fields, we'll be having the applications of Industry 4.0. We are having the application of AI. Okay, so the basic thing, as you know, it's only the mimicking the or imitating the human intelligence, because human have the brain and ability to think, and AI has the fuel. Fuel is only the data, right? So as we say that human brain is analogous, rather the digital is the AI. Machines are digital. So some common terms, common text, what you can see, like John McAfee has said, that science and engineering, AI is nothing but science and engineering for making the intelligent machines, right? Exciting effort to make the computers think. That is said by the John Hungerland and Richard Knight. That is one very popular book. All of you have once upon a time, any person who are in CC who has come across this particular book, right? So it says the study is how to make computers do things at which at the moment people are better. So moving forward, we'll try to see the geopolitical scenario of India, China, and USA, because now everything you can see that all are using AI-based weapons and all, right? So that might be Russia, Ukraine, that might be Israel and Gaza, Damascus. That's very scenario if we look into. So let me check about what is the scenario. Like the superpowers, China and your US, they're heading like anything now, and the China threat that has raised towards US, because few months back actually, in Las Vegas there was one went exhibition of different companies regarding electronics and technical and AI-based machines. So there we have found that 30% of the companies, those are from mainland China, which is basically a threat or a signal to US that they are not far behind. And you can see that though US is escalating the tech battle by China in AI chips, they are proceeding in they're doing good. US is doing good for the AI-based chips, but the general AI, application of AI into the real life, into the different fields, there China has made so many robots. Like you can see that 290,000 robots, those are made in China, as per the record we can see in 2022. And the rest of the world, they are with only a very few, like 263,000 number of robots that has been made. So AI-based robots, what the world is preparing now, the number of robots those are prepared, those are those are superseded by China. So U.S. politicians, they are actually trying to protect or insulate from the interaction from the China, because that is a huge talent pool of China. Those are working at the U.S. in different universities. So, and one thing you can see here, that China has produced about one third of the both AI-based journal papers and AI citations worldwide in 2021, and they are having a large number of AI experts, rather the students who are about to be experts in China. So with 70% of the world's installed 5G capacity. Okay, so if, in spite of that, China is far and far ahead with AI guided different missions. And if you see the STEM PhDs in China, they are far and far ahead ahead than US. So basically, nine of the world's top 10 institutions by volume of AI publications, they are basically from China. So ultimately, US is now in a position to urge basically to China, Russia, those very superpowers, to that only humans should have the control on the nuclear weapons. Otherwise, if that is led, that is, like if you leave the engine, if you leave the engine unit sitting at the driver's seat, okay, then the situation, whatever you can feel, that will be the scenario. So that is what the urge of US is like, that there should be the human control. And with the base of that only, there is one artificial general intelligence, that is one body that has been formed. Like, see, there is a common problem. When if you have the power, if you have the power center, ultimately there will be the temptation to go for misuse, and you'll be having the normal psychology that to be the superpower only, not others. So for that, like United Nations is also in the picture, right? So like that, there is one body that has been formed, like where no country will be winning in AI, rather all together will be, acting together, working together, so that the outcome of the AI based, products, that will be for the humankind, not only a particular country and all. So it will be of everyone. And India is not fall behind. India, by July 22, there is one conference called AI DEPT, and there 75 newly, AI products were introduced, right? And DRDO, DPSU, all are there in the picture. And as far India is concerned, Defense Artificial Intelligence Council that has been made, along with Defense AI Project Agency, that is also been formed, so that we can step forward in AI in diversified fields. Like for Navy, we can say in Jamnagar there is one 30 ongoing projects. Those are there in Jamnagar to promote decision making and predicting inventory management, like that. So this is the way, and there are two laboratories. So one is your DRDO Young Scientist Lab and CAIL Lab. Those two are situated in in Bangalore. They're also doing very impressive product design and AI-based projects, right? And as a result of that, we are getting so many, 75 number of products we have already been launched in 2022. Sorry, 2023. So see here that Wargame Research Development Center that has been formed, that has been created in New Delhi. The main intention is that using AR VR, the environment of the world that will be established, and through which our Jawans, our soldiers, they can able to understand or predict what are the situations that may come in the world, and how the decisions can be made, and they can directly attack, or they can back forward, like they can go for backwards. So the situation oriented things, those are made as war game research development center in there. Okay, so for that environment is basically the training center that trains the army with AI and VR to fill the war-like scenario. And there are some products I can tell you that, Safer Scout and Silent Safely. These are several products like this. Like, Safer Scout is for mainly that, detecting the ground mines, and through some illuminating spray, we can predict. We can not predict. We can check that whether mines are present in a particular uh, land or not. So the army deploys 140 AI-based surveillance systems to enhance the broader security. So this is the basically the idea of defense. What the innovations of defense, what is currently going on. And in 2023, we had all the earlier prediction, all the earlier target that at least 30 projects, 30 AI-based products in terms of defense, that must be ready by 2024. But in early 2023, we have made already 40 AI products and 30 are in development. So this is the way India is progressing in AI implementation in world. And let's see one killer robot here. So where you can see that one robot is basically progressing to one soldier. So let me tell you, there are the weapons are which are might be projectile weapons might be. So those are of three categories basically. One is human-driven totally, basically the semi-autonomous weapon system. Another one is human-supervised, not exactly driven, but the supervision, overall supervision will be there from some of the weapons, and some will be fully autonomous, and which human interaction is very less, almost zero, and that will decide as per the data that is being fed, and there will be very less control or interaction of human. Like you can see one tank here, one battle tank that is air based. Okay, so this tank can adapt with the environment of any particular world field, right? And independently, it can train itself or learn itself what to do and what are the targets and all. So automatically, it can um, you know predict what exactly the decision can be taken. And as you know, that robot dogs are already patrolling in US Mexico border, right? So this is the way world is progressing. And in a different note, wildfire detection, you see here that without being reported, 77 fire events that has been identified in last 1.5 years in the US. Okay, so that was the basically background of and some works what is going on in using AI. Now, this is a common thing is during test. I guess you do teach these very things in your to your students. So where basically you have one person as in between, and he will be the judge, right? And one person will be in some separate room. So three separate chambers will be there. In one chamber there will be one machine. Second chamber there will be the judge, and the third chamber there will be the human being. So basically, the judge is to decide by questioning that whether at all the machine that is there in the chamber that is answering as almost same as compared to the human. So if the judge cannot identify the difference, then you can say that a machine can think. So that was RD50, early 1950, AM Turing. He has done this test. So, in the year 1956, the AI, artificial intelligence, that the term was first coined in the Dartmouth College. So, the basic intention was to simulate the human intelligence into the machine. So, I'm going, see, these things are very rudimentary for you. I think I should skip all these because these are very basic things you to teach in your department. So I'm coming to the specific portions which are basically, you know, a little advanced cases I'll be discussing right now. So the machine learning and deep learning, basic idea, as you know, that machine is they have to learn based on the data, and the features are to be decided. You need to define the features based on that it will work. And whereas deep learning, the features are automatically being identified in deep learning. So the thing is a conceptual understanding, as you can see, that if you say it's a square, right? So it has some features we have already identified, like it will have four sides, it will be connected and closed, every side will be perpendicular, sides will be equal, right? So those very features for machine learning, we need to give it these type of features you need to give. Based on that the training will be done, whereas in deep learning those very features, whatever the data you feed, based on that the features will be automatically being selected, being recognized rather. Okay, and in a very large scale deep learning will be functional. So if we go for this, we are really very tough. It's really very tough to understand whether we can recognize an animal. it's a cat or a lion. Okay, so these are very common things that you have some input layer, and based on the features, we can easily identify based on the data feed that whether it is dog or lion. So basically, the steps of deep learning will just have a look that the features are already identified. Okay, automatically those are found for making the classifications. Okay, and here, as you know that if you feed the very minimum number of data, ultimately it is not going to work because as you see, as for the red line in the curve, you see that is not performing better because the number of data inputs are not very sufficient. So if you feed maximum number of data, ultimately amount of data, then ultimately deep learning will give the proper result. So there is a common saying that is the if the in a computation, if the computation is engine of AI revolution, data are the fuel. Very fine word. And in terms of the hardware dependency, we need GPUs. As you see in the data that whatever the number of seconds those are required for the you know computation as compared to GPU and CPU or other than GPU. You see there are 27.1% gain. So with GPU, if you go for the computation, you'll be getting a very huge gain there. So the basic idea of, as you all know, I'm just as this is the introductory lecture for the FDP. I'm just going for the very generalized things and some generations of AI, like the first generation of narrow AI. You have Siri and Google Assistant, and Netflix and Amazon suggestions, self-driving cars, and AGI already we have discussed of in its back, right? And there is another one is super intelligent AI, which is basically coming in a very bigger way when the human intelligence will definitely be taking the back seat. So in the progress of AI, you see here that the Vinci surgical system that has been developed, where a country like India will be having the, as per Forbes reports, one-fifth of the population who are getting into hospitals, they can be made free after having the operation. So that is a huge gain because getting a bed in hospital is really a challenge in today's scenario. And like that, there are so many path-breaking tools like Google SleepMind for basically eye diseases. Path AI is there for the pathology. IBM Watson for oncology, right? Atomwise, Benevolent AI. Those are also for the different drug discovery and rare diseases. So like that, AI is in there in the space explorations as well. Already, Leeds University, UK, they have already developed, they have discovered basically some protostars, 2000 protostars, means they are about to be stars in some hundreds or thousands of years. So now those are infant stars like formed in with gas and dust clouds. So those are also identified, through that through machine learning techniques. So Leeds University has given that report. And not only that, the orbital system, if you go, the navigation system of Mars as well as your moon, those are already being done. And the protein structure of human body, that is also identified, right? So these are several, and we have we have two telescopes. One is the James Webb, and another is your Hubble's telescope. Both of the telescopes, those are the precisions and everything, the accuracies, those are all mentioned through AI. And you see the Titan mission, Dragonfly mission to Titan by NASA by 2027 that is going to fly, right? So they have the intention to go for the microbial habitability and probiotic chemistry, different locations of Titan that will be experimented, right? So here also we are having the a huge role of machine learning and AI. Now there is a case study I'll be discussing with the Neuralink chip, right? It says the company, and nowadays, what we can tell you that the way we talk, the way we listen to, we write, we demonstrate, right? we may convince people, like I am telling something and you are the listeners, or vice versa, whatever. So these very mode are going to be abolished, right? So these very ways of communication, what you can see here, those are going to be replaced with AI, because the Neuralink that has already got that Food and Drug Administration clearance, so that it can go for the human trial into human into the clinical trial, so that the chips like your Neuralink chips then can be incorporated or installed in the human brain. You can see that this is the way when brain to brain mapping, brain to communication between brain to other brain, that is that is not far away. Like that uploading and downloading of your digital memory, that is possible now. And this is a very interesting one. You might be knowing that if you want to install that Neuralink chip, you need to have one cut in this into the skull, right? Then it will be drilled, and after drilling, it will be getting the durometer layer, and when that will be replaced through some uh, through some needle or so, then you can have the brain. So then the brain, whatever you see, there will be one 3D image that will be captured, and the detailed 3D map of the brain that will be taken, and the chip that will be having, the chip will be having one end with 64 threads, right? And the threads are very thinner, like 1.4 times thinner than the RBC and 20 times thinner than the human hair. So this is the way the 64 thinner lines or thinner threads will be coming up from the chip. You can see here that you can see that particular chip that is going to be installed here in the brain. Generally, what happens is our human brain is nothing but a collection of so many neurons and all, right? So its role is to communicate with communicate and transmit some message, right? So whenever the message transmission happens, actually there is some electric fields that is getting generated, and some electrodes are being placed here to basically consume that particular information. So basically those you know, uh, every thread, I've already told you that 64 threads are there, and each and every thread will be having 16 electrodes that will be working like a bus of the information generation or transmission rather. So total, you can say that 1024 number of electrodes are present in the particular chip. And you can see one person, Noman Arbag, he is a completely, a person completely uh, paralyzed person. Only his brain works, nothing else. By installing the chip, he is very, expert enough to go for chess. Okay, and you can see with the earlier, the topic picture at the top, you will finding that one monkey is playing some computer games, and not using his hand, rather not using its hand, rather through the brain mapping. Okay, so but the chip what we are discussing right now, that is the N1 implant chip. You can see that that particular chip volume is like a 5 rupee coin, and you can see the threads those are coming out of it, right? So there will be some battery and chips, and those thinner threads will be connected with that. Okay, I'm skipping this. And a real life application I'll be discussing with you. That is the work what you have done, that prediction of brain cancer using hair follicle, right? As you can understand that hair follicles, from the hair follicles, we can get the GNS, we can get the DNA. And there are several genes, those are basically liable for your cancerous things, right? One is your, some oncogenes are there, like there is one gene called tumor suppressor gene. So using those very genes, tumor suppressor gene is such a gene, like its normal role is that if one tumor is going to be, come out, its role is to suppress it. So that it can be, so the growth of the cyst or the tumor can be restricted, right? And Now the thing is, we have gone for one PCR technique where one electric kettle will be there and hair follicles are collected from a human, okay, and by rigorously going for the polymerase chain reaction, along with some Taq polymerase, some nucleotides, some other chemicals, and some gene primers, those are added into that particular solution in the electric kettle. So there is some process like heating up to a certain duration, and then it will be again cooled, again reheating for some duration, again cool, like that. Actually, those were the nucleotides are amalgamated with the DNA what we have taken here. So after the amalgamation is done, then that very particular solution is sent to the DNA sequencer machine, and you'll get the this is the process of the PCR. I'm not going into detail on this. Basically, there are some components also there, and you see that there are some phases through which it should pass. The total solution is to be passed, and then and only from that outcome of this particular process, we'll be getting the DNA sequence. So the DNA sequence is basically obtained from some sequencer, and as you remember that AGTC is adenine, guanine, thymine, cytosine. That was there. We have learned in our childhood days in our school books, right? So those are all the nitrogen bases, and through which what we people who are in AI or computer or ML, what we will have from the sequencer machine, we'll be getting the series of this combination of A, B, T, C. Okay, so the series of these nitrogen bases will be here as an input, right? Now the point is that the DNA sequence what we will be receiving, that can be converted into mRNA sequence through changing of one particular nitrogen base, and from the mRNA sequence or RNA sequence, we can form the amino acid codon. Amino acid, as you know, that our human body is nothing but a combination of collection of so many it's basically the protein and made of amino acid. So amino acid codons are made with three characters consecutively taken together. You can see that ATG is taken, then CCT is taken, CGT is taken, like this. Whatever the number of characters you do have from the amino acid sequence, or the RNA sequence, right? So those are formed with three characters together, and that has become the amino acid codon. Now the point is, if there happens to be some, there happens to be some mutation. Mutation means I'm telling that there are two types of mutation happen. One is point mutation. That is, point mutation is one particular nitrogen base is getting changed. You see here that here T is there, and T is changed into C. So thiophane is changed into cytosine. Like so, if one sequence originally that is there and some point mutation happens, that may happen due to any reason. That might be some long chronic diseases, might be some accident and all. So if the mutation happens, okay, then there is another way is that is called your frame shift mutation. What does it mean? That if one nitrogen base is added or removed, what will happen? The frame that is made of three characters together, that will be getting changed. Either you remove one nitrogen base or you can add one nitrogen base, whatever the way. So that is called our frame shift mutation. Now the problem here is, if these type of mutations happen, then and only what will happen? The normal role of tumor suppressor gene or the oncogenes, normal role what was there, it will work like the reverse. Tumor suppressor gene, whose role was to simply suppress the tumor, it will basically change its turn. It will just do the reverse action. It will not take any initiative for suppressing the gene. So ultimately, the tumors will be generated, right? So this is the thing, and what is the idea here, that we have the data set what we have on which we have worked. It's a huge one, and from the data set through the training what we have made, we have identified some of the points, some of the mutation points, right? Suppose we have now say 2,91,099, that is number of say that is the size of the data. Of this huge data, we can have say 10. Hello, say we can have say 20 or 30 might be specific points where there is a chance of mutation. Now suppose one young boy of say 15 to 20 years, suppose if he is coming and he is with the DNA sequence and all, if we can identify his history or the DNA, that amino acid codon and all, and if we see that there is some mutation that is happening, or there is a chance of mutation happening in those very particular points which are identified from our large set of data. So then what will happen? We can easily identify the number of points where it is matching. So our algorithm will basically first go for selecting the points, the mutation points, where if for a new entry or new data, if the mutation points are matching with those very points, then there will be the high chance of cancer or the growth. This is called termed as your glioblastoma, right? So so that is identified, and ultimately from the trained data set, the number of figures what we are getting, number of points what we are getting, and a newly entry data set, what are the points we are getting in terms of mutation. If we can calculate, we can easily identify that the percentage of the those very connections and all. So through that, we can easily tell the person that what are the possibility of your brain cancer, in coming days. So as a cancer, as you know, this external part of body, you can easily see and go for a biopsy and all. So if something is happening within your brain, it's hardly possible to you to understand, what is there in your brain, because the symptoms will be if the brain cancer or the growth is there, if the malignant growth is there, then you might be having the symptoms. Those will be a normal symptoms as you see in case of some fever or flu or those will things or temperature up and go, right? So it's very tough to understand that whether at all there is something that is happening in your brain, something malignant growth that is happening in your brain. So through our techniques, we have already published the patent here. So through our techniques, we have already established what are the percentage of, a person who are having percentage of probability of brain cancer in coming days. So definitely it will be an helping hand to the doctor or medical persons, right? So that beforehand the treatment can be started, and as well as the even before the first stage, it can be recoverable. Okay, so that's it from my end today. Happy, today, just National Technology Day we have passed in 11th of May. So I'm so thankful to you and the department, right, for arranging such an recipe. And definitely it was a good opportunity for me. Thank you so much. If you have any question, please.
Uh, Thank you, Anirban Das sir, Professor Dr. Anirban Das sir, for this wonderful session. I would like to request all the participants, if you have any question about it, please raise your hand, or you can type in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and ask sir.
Okay, so I think it's over. Thank you so much, ma'am, for this opportunity and the department. I'm
Yes,
thankful
sir.
to the entire department along with the HOD, Professor Dr. Subir Gupta. Special thanks to him, right? And I hope the department is doing fantastic as AIML is a concern, as you can understand that this is the technology for tomorrow. So this is the need of the hour, and let's see how we can progress. Thank you. So, ma'am, so I take a leave now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you very much
Okay.
for your
Thank you so
valuable
much.
speech, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Time